welcome to another video on our coaching series brought to you by myself, Vikram Kodithaku, and my lovely assistant, Diana over here. So today, guys, we're going to be working on a core workout. We've got three separate workouts in there. Both of them, all three of them are actually going to be supersets, so two movements working back to back. Now, remember, your core isn't just your abdominals. It's your entire midsection, right? So just doing sit-ups ain't going to just build you a strong core. There's a lot of variation to it. So one of the key things that we need to remember about core work, there's three functional movements of your core, which is compression, anti-extension, and rotation or anti-rotation. All of these movements are as important. So these are the things that we're trying to mimic when utilizing different exercises to work our core. So the first one I'm going to show you is a dynamic hollow. So what you're going to start on is a regressed hollow position. So this is the first movement that we teach people before we teach them a full hollow hold. So your knees are fully brought in into a 90-degree angle with your toes pointed out. Your rib cage is tucked under with the upper core really bracing with your hands extended in front of you. From this position, your first focus is to compress that lower back to the ground, so your natural curvature is pushed out, so it's nice and firm. From here, you're going to extend into a perfect hollow, so that lower back is still pushed down, your legs are up, your arms are up, so in a nice cradle-like position. From here, you go back into that compression, so toes pointed away, and back into that extension like so. Again, make sure the cradle is up, so you're in a nice cradle-like shape. On here, we're going for 20 repetitions. You can pause, stop, and restart if you do fatigue and struggle in this movement. From this, we're going to go into a hollow plank, straight arm plank position. So you're going to start on the press up hold. The only difference though is our toe placement, as also where our shoulders are positioned. So on a normal plank, we normally have the shoulders stacked over our wrists. This time round, if you watch our toes as well, we're going to go from a toe down to a plantar position like so. So you're rounding through the core. You're loading the shoulders over your wrist like so. So right now, this midsection, these quads are completely braced to hold dynamically in this position. So, and come to rest there. So remember, guys, on the first movement, we got 20 reps happening. On the second movement, it's a max effort. Trust me, you're not going to be able to hold this for minutes. This is more of a 20, 30, or even 40-second go, because a lot of you are going to find the positioning of your feet to be one of the most challenging things. Because a lot of us have a lot of tight ankles. We don't work on ankle mobility, ankle range of movement. So these things will highlight all those weaknesses. And again, with these two movements, it's a superset. We're going for 3 sets. And remember to rest 60 seconds between each set, guys. Right, guys, so for part 2, we've got 2 separate movements coming up on this core workout. We've got a reverse crunch, which we'll show you in a second, as well as a plank rock. So the reverse crunch, we're going for reps. We're going for 15 repetitions, or 20. So let's say 15 to 20 on these reps, depending on your strength and ability. You're going to start off with yourself on the ground with your hands placed nice and flat. So you're pushing down to that ground nice and firm. Keeping your feet together. Your aim is to lift your legs into a 90 degree. Then lift your hips and that lower back to enable your position to be nice and tall in an inverted position. So Danik is going to push firmly through his hands, keeping his feet together. He's first going to bring his legs up, keeping the hips on the ground. Once he's in this position, you're going to pressure down through the hands, lift the hips and that lower back up. So you feel that flexion on that core at the top. Then it's going to slow as you can bring that lower back down and gently touch the legs down. So flexion from the hip first, extension there, and you're squeezing and controlling down that body. Remember, one more time, so remember, it's that compression that we're after on that core. Stabilize slow as you can and control. So what we're going for is 15 reps, ease off there, D. And then once you finish your 15, you're going to go into a plank. So elbow down plank position, keeping that midline strong. So a plank is what we call an anti-extension, right? Extension is when our spine goes to an extension. So if you dip low, take your spine to an extension. So that is when our spine is extended, okay? So at this position, what we're trying to do is prevent that extension from happening. So a plank is an anti-extension move. So on the plank, you want to make sure your weight is distributed evenly through your elbows with your elbows stacked under your shoulders. Your toes are driven down to the ground and the balls of feet are pushed evenly down. You're squeezing your glutes, hips locked out, slight little arch through that back to really feel that compression. And then when you're in that position, you're going to rock forwards and back. So keeping that body level nice and in line, transferring that weight forwards and back, which just increases the tension and the capacity that you feel through that core. Keeping that nice and stable, you're going to work for 45 seconds and ease off there. So remember, guys, on the reverse crunch, we've got 15 reps happening. On the plank rops, you've got 45 seconds. You're gonna do this for 3 sets with 60 seconds rest after each superset. And next, we got another one coming up for you. Right guys, so part 3 of today's core workout. The first movement we got coming up is some seated compressions. I'll show you a regression as well as a progressive version towards it. And supersetting with that is some Russian twist. Nice and simple movement to work on that trunk twisting motion. So, Dinah's going to show us what the core compression looks like. She's going to start off in a seated position on the ground. So, the progressive version is the one I'm going to show you first. You want to make sure your fingertips and hands are in line with your knees. Your toes are pointed away and your feet are together. Your positioning of your upper body does not change, guys. Remember that. Your focus is not just lifting the leg. Don't focus on the leg. Focus is on compressing that core as hard as you can. So Dinah's going to show us a few reps on the progressive version. Coming up, feel that squeeze, touch the heels down and lift up again. And we're going for 15 to 20 reps on these core compressions. Again, you can regress the rep range if it's too challenging. But if this movement is hard with straight legs, all you have to do is slightly bend your knees. Hand placement's exactly the same. Don't think about straightening the knees at all. Keep them bent and still focusing on that core compression, bringing those thighs as close to your chest and your core as you can. So that is the regressed version of the one we showed earlier. From there, we're gonna go into some Russian twists. So your feet are gonna be either flat or with your heels down in that position, so your feet are grounded. And your knees are gonna be in a nice 90-degree angle. Keeping your hands together, overlap like so, and keeping it centered towards your body. Your aim is to rotate to each side and touch the ground like so. And we're going for 45 seconds of Russian twist. So keeping a slight lean off that body so your core is engaged. You're working that full rotation, keeping your eyes on those hands as you rotate. Ease off there. Awesome work. So remember, we got 15 to 20 reps of your core compression. Choose whether you want the progressive or the regressive version to use. And soon after that, you got your Russian twist for 45 seconds. Remember, this is the last part of your core workout. You got 3 sets of this. Give 60 seconds rest in between the sets. And guys, like I always say in our videos, your warm-up as well as your cool-down is one of the most important things to ensure you recover well and you minimize your likelihood of injury. So on this core workout, if you go on the recovery section, you'll see a lot of abdominal, oblique, as well as lower back stretches that will help you recover from this core workout. Guys, thank you for joining me again. I hope to see you in the next video.